Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. I bet all of you are still single. But even so, I think we should take this time to really appreciate someone really special. And that someone is, of course, Dennis. The hit era had a lot of new characters, but sadly most of them were just made to store up shelves in a toy store. Most of them did absolutely nothing, only reappearing in some episodes just by a cameo appearance. They were just blank slates, they had nothing, no character, and probably no bitches. But, in my opinion, the character had the most potential is Dennis. Dennis' first appearance, and only appearance, was in Thomas's Day Off, written by Sharon Miller. Oh no. This episode was one of Sharon Miller's first written episodes, and it shows. It uses the dreaded 3 strikes formula, and it also has a bunch of rhyming as well.
Shiny and bright, that's what I'll be to start my day right.
These are 2 things that Sharon Miller uses way too much. But even so, I still think this is a good episode, and that's because of one reason, and that is Dennis. So, Dennis is based off this weird experimental diesel design, which would later go on to also become Norman, so that's something. But anyway, during the hit era, I think the prop work really peaked. Their designs are so detailed, and all of the props look so good, and Dennis is no exception. I also have to say, the series got really used to using the basic Class 08 diesel design, so I'm really happy that he's not a Class 08, because that has gotten very boring now. I really like the fact that he's painted grey, because at this time, not a bunch of engines were painted grey, so it really makes him stand out. Now, let's actually talk about Dennis's personality, which is the reason why I like him so much. And that is because he is lazy. Now, you might think, why is it so interesting that he's lazy? Well, it's actually because it's a unique character trait. Not many engines have that. There is so much potential with stories, and I think this really plays off well with Thomas. Thomas is known for being very determined and likes to do a good job, well, sometimes, and so pairing him up with this lazy diesel makes this just a fun character pairing. Like I said, this episode uses the 3 strikes formula, but I really think this plays off well with Thomas's character. Thomas is very patient with Dennis, and I like that. But also, the 3 strikes formula also shows how far Dennis will go to just not do his work and just sleep. Dennis just comes up with any excuse he can at any given point in time to just ignore his work. And you gotta commend him for that. And you know what they say, the laziest people are normally the smartest people because they can always figure out a way how they can not do something. The reason Dennis leaves such an impact on especially me and a bunch of other fandom members is because this episode is just simply good. And I think the biggest thing about the episode that I like is the crash at the end, because Dennis really deserves it for being so lazy. I also like the fact that Thomas has his angry face when Dennis is making his apology. It totally fits Thomas's character, and I do like that they gave Dennis a small redemption arc. I don't know if he actually follows up on this, but considering that he doesn't appear ever again, I like to think that he did end up becoming a little bit more useful. Anyway, this was supposed to be a Dennis-only video, but I also ended up talking a little bit about Thomas's Day Off, so I might as well just say some cool things I like about that episode, because it is one of my favorite Hit Era episodes. First off, this episode was produced during Season 9, and it also has the visuals of Season 9, and I really like those visuals, so naturally I like the visuals of this episode. I also really like the concept of engines having day off. It really makes them feel less like slaves, considering that's a whole topic and stuff, so I like the fact that they have day offs. I mentioned this previously, but I also really like the way that Thomas is characterized in this episode. This was one of the only episodes where Sharon Miller actually understood the character, and I gotta give her a medal for that. finally, and this part is from my childhood, but as a kid I would always rewatch the dentist crash. It just looked so cool to me. I don't know why. It's one of my favorite crashes of all time. So, this episode also gets a point for that, for having a really cool crash at the end. And just the whole black smoke and stuff, it looks so good, I don't know why. Anyway, that's everything I have to say about Dennis. There's not much more to talk about, because considering he just appeared in one episode, and like this small cameo in The Great Discovery, but we don't count that. So yeah, happy Valentine's Day everyone. This was the Dennis appreciation video. Goodbye.